Hello, fellow wood carving enthusiasts. Today we're going to be working on the, just going to do a little quick video, going to be an extra one, the Strong 105 LN handpiece. Recently I changed the bearings in this. I did have a hard time finding the right ones, but I did get the right ones, and I'll show you the little kit number for that, and show you how the bearings and brushes go in these. So if you have one of these, or you get one, end up getting one, worked pretty good. This is a brushed one. I actually recently picked up a BP50 brushless, and only tried it out once. I'm going to play with it a little bit more later today, but first I'm going to show you how to do this. Here we go. Alright, just a little quick thing before I start the video here. Remember, before you take this motor apart, to unplug it or disconnect it from the power supply, and be safe. Don't get shocked by this thing. So yeah, just unplug it, and while you're working on it, and you won't have to worry about getting zapped. Alright, so first things first, we're going to take the open up the chuck, take the bit out because it won't come apart with the something in there. So then you just spin this nose piece off, and this is the whole front end. Now there's a bearing right here and a bearing right here. To take those out, you can just take a real fine, if you have a real fine flat screwdriver, you can get underneath the edge of that little clip. You pop it up and get it started. Just work it right around the shaft and then slide the clip off. Don't shoot this across the room, it's really hard to find. Then in here, I couldn't find a good schematic on this online, but I did find one for the 105L, I think it was, or the 105N maybe. Very similar, but a little bit different. And it doesn't show where the bearings go in placement with the other parts. So I'll turn this around. So we got the nose piece here, we got the little clip, we got a two pieces of brass that kind of fit together. Then we have there's a little spring washer. And then a little thrust washer. It's real smooth. Then the first bearing. Then we have a big aluminum spacer and another bearing. And this, another piece of brass and a spring, and then that's all that I can get apart on this. That's all you need to take apart to do this. So if you're just replacing the bearings on the front, that's how you do it. Then you just slip these back over, put your large bearing back on, your aluminum piece, aluminum spacer, the smaller bearing, thrust washer. It's a little wavy spring washer, it goes here. If you put these two washers on in the wrong order, this will not work. Ask me how I know. Then you got the two brass pieces, slip right back on. And if you squish this, there's a little bit of a spring there, but if you squash this down, you should be able to see that groove where the clip goes. Then find your sharp side of the clip, put it out towards the front, towards the chuck. It just slides right back down the shaft and right in the groove there, and that should be it. Then you can set this aside. That's your two front bearings. That just slips right back into there, and you can set that aside. Now back here we got brass piece and a spring that stay together. Then there's two thrust washers. There's this little piece for unlocking the chuck. Now this has two little wheels on it that can come off of here real easy. They roll in a groove. That's actually part of the locking mechanism for the chuck. So we'll just set that there. Now there is a long and a short side to this, and it has to go a certain way. And then in here we got there's this little thrust bearing set here. So it has a smooth washer, a little ball bearing washer, and then another smooth washer on this side, and that sets right in here. That's what this runs on. Okay. So mine's marked with a little S right there, and it also has a long side and a short side. I'm pretty sure the long side goes in there first. Make sure those two wheels are in there. Put your two thrust washers in, your spring, and that goes back together. Chuck opens and closes. You put your bit back in, stuck in there. Everything's working. Okay, then we're going to show you how to take the back of it apart. Alright, so to take the back apart, we take the nose pieces all back off, because we need to get the bearing in there to be able to push it out. But this back piece just unscrews. It's a fine thread, so it takes a minute. You can, this thing will slide the whole way off, but you don't need to take it off of there. We need a real small jeweler's screwdriver. These are little Phillips heads, but my flathead screwdriver fits the best. This is one of the brushes. So if you're changing the brushes also, you can change the brushes at the same time. You can take that guy out. These are pretty tight to turn, so if you have a good fitting screwdriver, works the best. So take the other brush out. Then you got two more little screws. Now all these screws are the same size, so it doesn't matter if you mix them up. Then this whole motor will pull out of here. So we don't need to do anything with this other than if you need to clean it up. If it's really dirty, you can clean it up. This has already been cleaned out a little bit, so this thing just pull right out of there. This is the small bearing that comes in the kit, and it just slides on here. Slides on here nice and easy. Anyways, this is a brand new bearing. I just put it on here, but it does come off pretty easy, and you can see it slides there. It's just being a little bit cantankerous. Now my armature shaft here is wore down a little bit from the brushes, and that's why I bought that BP50 brushless, because this thing may not work forever. I might be able to get a new armature, but I'm not sure. Then inside here, I got another bearing. Let me get something to push that out. Okay, so I found a bit that fits. I don't know if you can see down in there. You can see the bearing down in there. There's a hole around it that's a little bit bigger than the inside of that bearing, and I found a bit that'll just fit down in there and push that bearing out. Well, it is there is a bunch of magnets in here, so that's going to stick in there because it's a little electric motor. But there it is. Just comes out just like that. So this is your medium-sized bearing. There's only 4 bearings in the whole thing, so it's not too bad. Not too hard to figure out which one is which. But put it back together, it's pretty simple. We just put the slide the bearing onto the shaft. Just work it on there. Got both bearings on the armature. Just gonna slide this back in. Now I did clean this all up with some electrical cleaner whenever I had it apart originally. Just gotta make everything look like it's seated in there. It all spins real free. Then we're gonna slip this back in, lining up the brush holes and the little screw holes in the side there. Put these in, and then you can tighten them down pretty tight. That's all there is to that guy. Then we'll just stick the brushes back in. I push that spring all the way in to get the screw tight. That holds the pressure on the brush. Make sure everything's down in the hole where it's supposed to be. Now there is a curve to the brush here, and it has to ride on that armature in there, so you want to make sure you get it in there the right way. And you want to make sure that that screw goes all the way down, so that that's pushing that brush all the way down there. Once everything's tight, you can slide this back piece back up. Just screw it back on. This front piece goes together again just like I showed you earlier. So we put the bearings on here first. It's got a flat washer, bearing ring, another flat washer, cone. Alongside of this guy goes in first. 2 washers. Screw the nose back on. Make sure the chuck works. put a bit in it. Now it should spin free in your hand here. If there's anything not spinning free, if it feels like it's grinding, then you got something out of place in there, and you go back and make sure you get all these washers and stuff in the right place, and make sure the clip's on good, and it should spin free. Okay, I got the micromotor all put back together and working. And if this helped you out, if you have the LN, I think if you have the 105N, I think it's pretty much the same, putting them back together. Biggest thing is just making sure all the parts work and everything spins free. So if you have one of these and you need to change your bearings or the brushes, that should help you out. Okay, so I hope this helped anybody that has one of these things get this back together right. And I know I struggled a little bit. I had a couple of little washers backwards, and I thought it was the way that I had taken it apart, but it wouldn't spin free. That was that grinding I was talking about. I felt like it was gritty, and got those switched around, got them in the right order, and on the right side of the bearing, and all that makes a difference. So hope this helped you guys out. So thanks for watching.